And we're back here at the AWS Sydney Summit, Day 2. Welcome, Twitch TV viewers. I'm joined here today with Jared Spiegel. Of course, I'm Dean Samuels, your host. And I'm not too sure how to introduce you. I don't know if this is a police escort that you got to the summit here, Jared. Or who do we have you?
We have Mark Napoli. He's a technical account manager based out of Sydney, looking after various enterprise customers. And I understand that you're going to be talking to us today about a story from one of those enterprise customers.
I am. Thank you, guys. It's good to be here.
No problem.
Look, we have a leadership principle here at Amazon, which is frugality. So I wanted to dress up as a guard, because we are talking about guard duty.
Yep.
So I went by Target last night and I found this for $3. Apologise, it doesn't quite fit, but I am a guard and not a train conductor.
Right. You look the part. You definitely look the part.
Yeah, I know.
And so, Mark actually joined a lightning talk that you had just earlier before 7:45. I know it was a nice early start for you.
Yeah, it was a few
what better way to start off the day than on security, right?
Yes.
And you gave a talk around one of our services, guard duty service. Can you maybe give the viewers a little bit of a background about what the talk was about, and maybe even what guard duty is?
Yeah, so Guard Duty is a security service that we released in 2017. The situation was a little unique. I actually had a panicked phone call from one of my customers. In the Guard Duty console, it came up saying, one of your servers is cryptocurrency mining. Now, it was a little bit of a surprise. This was a Jenkins server, not something you would expect to be reaching out to monerohash.com.
All right.
And so we did a little bit of work to find out what was going on, and because of what Guard Duty had told us, we were able to protect that server, take it away from being public-facing, and then we found out a few months later that actually there was a widespread exploit happening on Jenkins servers globally. You know, it's just a win for Guard Duty because it actually caught this months before the security vendors and the software vendors knew about it.
So this is really good. So this means that services like Guard Duty can essentially protect your applications against vulnerabilities that haven't even been discovered yet, and give you early insights into some unexpected behaviours from those applications.
Yeah, that is spot on. So for example, escalated privileges in your account that you might not be aware of, Guard Duty will catch those.
So why didn't Guard Duty specifically take evasive action? Why couldn't the service automatically quarantine the Jenkins server that might have been running?
Yeah, so as it stands today, Guard Duty is just a diagnostic tool, okay? It's going to look at what's happening in your account, and it's going to alert you, but it's not going to take responsive action because it doesn't have the full context of what's happening in your account.
Right.
So stay tuned, possibly down the line, we will have the ability to do that, but for now we don't.
I guess if I was actually running a crypto miner intentionally on the AWS cloud, you wouldn't want it to take action in that particular case, because then you're essentially bringing that miner offline.
Yeah, spot on.
And I guess it gives a choice, though, to the users of the platform, right? Because Guard Duty, it's all obviously programmatic, so users can actually build their own reactive measures as well with the platform. Like you said, we'll obviously look at iterating and innovating on the product, but for today, the customers have a choice of how they actually configure and react to these type of situations.
Yeah, spot on. So Guard Duty itself is just a responsive tool, but you need to take the requisite actions, and one of the ways you can do that is by using CloudWatch events.
Yep.
Okay, so you can have a Guard Duty event that feeds into CloudWatch events, and then from there you can use that as the trigger for a Lambda function. Now, once you get things into Lambda, the world's your oyster. You can call AWS SDKs and shut down instances. You can respond, but that's not part of the Guard Duty service.
Right. Yeah. And I guess sometimes, though, you get these false positives or even false negatives where, you might get this alert that attack has actually occurred when it hasn't really occurred. There's just maybe some unusual but authorized traffic that's actually happening. So now, how do you confirm these attacks?
Yeah, no, good question. So at the time, we couldn't actually see anything in the press. There was nothing in the security advisory about what was going on, so we're a little confused.
They were also using the latest versions of Jenkins. They had a fully patched instance.
Absolutely. So was it Jenkins itself, or was it a remote exploit? So what we did, a couple of things. So first, we logged into the server to see what was going on, and we found a whole bunch of Jenkins processes running and CPU at 80%. So our first warning. And then we used TCP dump to actually confirm what was happening with the network traffic and compared that to what Guard Duty was telling us. And all of a sudden, we got a really good picture of what was going on.
Awesome. Okay.
So typically, how long would it take for guard duty to pick up on this type of attack or these unexplained or unexpected events occurring?
Yep. So I replicated their environment, and I found within 12 to 24 hours, the same thing was happening to me.
But then again, that was also including the actual amount of time that it would have taken whatever remote bot farm or whatever to discover that Jenkins and then deploy the payload and so forth.
Yep.
So it's likely that guard duty could have potentially discovered it a lot sooner. It's just that the server hadn't been exploited at that time.
Absolutely. And I think one thing you need to keep in mind is that if you put a server on the internet and it's exposed on any port, you must expect it's going to get poked and prodded. There really is no safe place to hide anymore. So, we find also with guard duty that you have SSH brute force attacks happening all the time. Okay, so you have to have something that's responding to these and giving you that insight.
And I think also if anyone was watching yesterday, we had Riser on stage talking about compliance as code. This is an avenue where you could actually use guard duty as an example to make sure that guard duty was enabled. We could use things like config rules to guarantee across all of your accounts at scale that config rules is enabled to that guard duty would be enabled to enable this protection across all of your applications, across all of your accounts. Not just on a workload by workload basis. That's
a great point, Jared. And again, it's a great example of where these services on their own do provide some certain power and control to the users, but when we integrate them as well, it can be really a robust, comprehensive security platform around all of your AWS resources. Our super duper moderators here who are answering your questions online have also indicated that guard duty can be applied across those multiple accounts too. So for those of you who are looking at multiple account strategy, which most of our customers are, leveraging the guard duty platform makes it very easy to actually control across those multiple accounts.
And additionally, if you are going to enable guard duty, I believe that there's a 30-day trial where you can just turn it on, pay nothing for 30 days, and you also get an indication of what the service would cost over that 30 days as well. So you can make your own calls, whether you find that it's value for money, but typically it's only expected to be, about a quarter of, not a quarter, a quarter of a percent of your entire bill.
I've seen on very large accounts, 0.1 to 0.2% of... okay, thank you.
We have a question.
We have a question. Okay.
So basically what you're saying is that guard duty won't actually blow out your costs if you were to enable it, right?
Yes, yes. So very low cost. And we look at the CloudTrail events that you actually have in your account, and we look at the VPC and DNS logs, and we charge you accordingly. So really try it for 30 days, and I've seen it be as low as $5 to $10 a month.
Right, okay. Let's
now, I have a question. Where can I buy that hat from Exploding?
That's from Exploding Frog 193.
Love the
Chatswood
username.
Target.
Exploding Frog.
It was on clearance for $3, and there were 3 left. So if you want to get there...
if we name drop you, will we get a discount?
You can try that. I actually got a few of these guard duty badges. So
we can be your deputies.
Awesome. We're your deputies, right?
We can all be protective of our AWS accounts. Thank you.
And so just in terms of maybe why customers would not enable guard duty, it sounds like guard duty is providing all of these excellent type protection or at least notification.
Yep.
Why would I not enable it?
I can't see any reason why. I mean, I think it makes sense as part of a defense in depth strategy. And the fact that you can try it for 30 days means that there really is, there's no pain to try it. And it's a zero footprint service. So it actually doesn't place anything into your account. Everything runs outside of your account and just continuously monitors your accounts.
Yep.
So really there's no loss in trying.
And also being outside of the account, that means that it's not going to have any impact on the resources that are already running in your account. So you're not going to see any drop in performance or any increased load on your resources, which could incur other unexpected costs as well.
Absolutely.
And so you're dressed up as the security guard, so I'm sure you know a lot more other things than just guard duty. So what are some of the other similar products or maybe complementary products and services on AWS that customers should be looking at?
Yeah, there's a couple that I really like. I'll just talk about one of them. So Macy, recently released as well, uses machine learning in the back end to identify the data that you have on AWS and help you detect it, classify it, and then protect it. Okay, so let's give an example. If you have personally identifiable information and you put it up into an S3 bucket, how do you know that it's there? Okay, how do you know who's accessing it, who's moving it, and so Macy can help you detect that as you go. So I really like Macy. I don't know if you've used it.
Yeah, definitely. There's a common problem that you do see in a lot of organisations is you'll make S3 buckets and you'll expect some classifications of data to be in some buckets, but you don't necessarily want other classifications in that same bucket. So if I've got a publicly available bucket, if I'm just pushing content there, I don't want things like database backups to end up in there. And Macy's a service that can automatically detect that and categorize and classify that information.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Mark, you're actually a really popular person. We've got another question here from Fjord Pinner. And we've got another question as well. One-handed, did you see that? Same one? Oh, okay. I've got snail mail and through the internet there, the message. And so Fjord Pinner asks, are there any minimum time commitments for using guard duty?
No, you can turn it on today and turn it off tomorrow if you like. Awesome. It's completely up to you.
Okay, yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
So when the service was launched, I heard something about proof points being mentioned.
Yeah.
What's proof point exactly?
Yeah, so if you think of the way guard duty works, it's taking in all this information from your account, okay? And so we have our own smarts around detecting what looks normal and what patterns are anomalies, but we also have integrated partners that we work with, okay, and we take intelligence feeds from them. So Proofpoint provide an emerging threats database, basically a database of known good guys and known bad guys. So,
I like that, yeah. That's true. You should have seen him last night.
You can't arrest me now if I'm a known bad guy.
So we use our third-party integrations to actually bolster the guard duty service.
No worries. So integrated partners are great, and we love partners here at Amazon and Amazon Web Services. Can we integrate guard duty with any of our partners' offerings and any other third-party services?
Yeah, so probably the integration you need to know about is the one that I mentioned before into CloudWatch events. Yep. That's your primary one for responding to these. We do all of the third-party integrations in the back end with guard duty, so it really is a no-fuss managed service.
Yeah, and I'm sure because it integrates with CloudWatch events, we've got a lot of partners, ISV partners, technology partners that actually build solutions around things like CloudWatch. And so guard duty actually uses CloudWatch or can integrate with CloudWatch, then therefore the partner tools can actually integrate with CloudWatch as well.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing we haven't actually spoken about, and it really is a hot topic, is machine learning. So I hear guard duty actually uses machine learning.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Okay. So, machine learning really under the hood is pattern recognition, if you think about it. You take some data, you run it through an algorithm, and you have a model at the end of it that you can then use to throw things at and identify, does that look normal, or is this pattern an anomaly? Okay, so guard duty is continuously learning based on the activity that it sees in your account. Okay, and it does that through your CloudTrail events, through your DNS logs and your VPC flow logs. Okay, and so it sees what's normal and trains itself over time. So really fantastic use of, or combination of security and machine learning.
So I'm casting my mind back again to Riser session, compliance as code, and I'm thinking about my enterprise customer that's got a lot of accounts. And if I'm in that cloud center of excellence, I don't really want to be logging into an account, enabling it, logging into the next account, enabling it. It's very tedious when I've got 100 accounts or more even. Can I automate the deployment of guard duty in those accounts?
You can. So it's a one-click deployment. If you've only got a single account, and I'm sure you've got many, but if you only have a single account, it's just a one-click or a one API call through AWS. If you want to deploy it across multiple accounts, we've just added it to CloudFormation. So you can use it as a resource and actually deploy that in an automated fashion across all of your AWS accounts. And actually what it does is it takes all of the events and it rolls that up into one account, and so you can see everything for your whole estate in one easy interface.
So single pane of glass view. It's really important for security teams, and being able to know what threats are potentially they're vulnerable to across a number of different accounts in that single pane of glass is really powerful for those security teams.
So I really implore people to try it out. It's as I said, free 30-day trial. You will be surprised at what you find. Hopefully delighted at what guard duty can protect, and yeah, that's.
Well, certainly in the case of your customer, if we were going to run a cryptocurrency miner, if anything, I would want to run it intentionally so I make the money off it, not some malicious hacker group.
Well, actually, at this point, it's currently over $3 million of Monero coins, so it was definitely lucrative for the attackers, but I'm glad that my customer was able to catch it early through guard duty and get a good outcome.
Because obviously it means that if it wasn't caught, it'd be using more of their CPU resources on those Jenkins servers. Who knows if they would come out with some other variation of that same vulnerability to spread like a worm across the rest rest of their network.
Yeah.
Imagine what their compute cost could have ended up like.
Or potentially create a denial of service on their infrastructure. So right. Yep, absolutely.
And I mean, I really like hearing about the automation and deployment and management around the machine learning, because what that tells me is it's actually eliminating that human being from the process, right? Because you're processing, trawling through so much data, obviously the human mind can't actually do that.
Yep.
So it's great to hear.
All right, well, that's been absolutely fantastic talk, Mark. It's been really great having you up on stage. Likewise, guys, if you've got any other questions with regards to guard duty, flick them across to our... You can also email aws-twitch@amazon.com, and we can also provide answers via email. It's been great having you on stage. To everyone out there, we're doing...
Thank you, Twitchland.
Thank you.
We're also doing things a little bit different today. We're not going to have as longer breaks as we did yesterday. So we're going to take a couple of minutes breaks to get the next speaker ready and bringing them up on stage. Stay around all day. We're going to essentially be streaming for the entire 5 hours, all the way until 3:30 this afternoon. Let's see how long my voice can last throughout the rest of the day. It's already getting a bit crackly. We'll see you all soon.
See you later. See ya.